And here we are, Sunday, September 25th. This is how I start the day. I check the ducks. Here's the boys. They are starting to eat a lot, and I need to get them out of the training pen. Hey, how you doing? Say hello to the folks at home. Yeah. Hey, can you say hello? Can you say hello to the folks at home? Come say hello. And here I am at the land. We have a finished pig palace. And the whole thing is put together with screws and can be taken apart and moved. But it's also solid, sturdy, heavy enough so that the pigs can scratch against it. They won't knock it over or break it. Hi, girls. Oh, you built yourself a different nest. Hi. Good morning. Do you have anything to say to people for the Sunday message? Anything? Anything important? I think the message is cuddle more. More hugs. That's what you need right there. We are animals designed to connect physically with our world, and we humans have been cut off from it more and more. There's a lot of lonely people out here. These pigs are not lonely though. So one of the reasons I wanted to keep 3 is to give them that rather than just one, so that they have pig company. It's good to find your tribe. It's good to find your herd, your flock, the people that you really relate to, that you can hang out with without feeling pressured, without feeling like your boundaries are being invaded, but where they also don't take you too seriously, and they call you on your crap, and they love you anyway. That's the goal of any community. All right, so this whole area here, I had to get the cows off it, because if I left it on it another minute, they would absolutely have ripped it up, because this is totally saturated. It's called a bottom. And there's a stream of water that flows down here whenever we're not in summer, essentially. And, I wanted to get the cows in here because there's a bunch of ferns, and they nailed the ferns. They totally cleaned out the ferns. But you can see there's standing water in their hoof prints. You do not want that, right? A little of it, okay. And that's also why we're using smaller cows, not these gargantuan ones. And that's one of Greg Judy's many gospel truths. Go down a little bit in size, and you can put more animals per acre, so you get more calves per acre, and they're less damaging to the land. So this area is being rested. This area is now being rested. That area is being rested. Not arrested, but rested. And this gave me an idea of, the cows were in here a week. Maybe just a little longer than a week. And you can see where the fence was. This is gonna squish. Yeah, this is underwater. And this is what the cows did. And you see, I didn't have them in here so long that they nailed everything. We want to be light, particularly going into winter. And I want to see what this area does. I may bring the girl sheep down here when we're out up there. So the girl sheep are in that far corner, and they have another area of brush before they would maybe come back through here. But in managing the available forage, that's what I do. This is not put them in a field and give them hay. Like, this is learning how to imitate nature by moving the animals relentlessly. Like, and it's a lot of work, particularly if there's a bunch of thorns and brush. Just putting the netting up is a pain. But I couldn't leave them here. How could I leave them here? Like, you drive by these farms and the cows are covered in mud. Like, that is not good for the land, and it's not good for the cows. The idea is to be more proactive management-wise. So I just want to give you, this is what this looked like. And you can see down in here, there's grasses, right? But the grasses are having to compete with all these plants that are giving them shade, right? And then this was just mowed yesterday. So all the prickers, all of the thorns are now dialed back. So next spring, when they try to regenerate, they will have some of the most succulent, tender forage for sheep, and I think the cows too, but we'll see. But in the meantime, the grass has got another month of the best grass growing season in the North Country, which is basically September, October-ish. And we usually have plenty of rain at this time of year. And it's cool, so the cool season grasses really can get going. And what we want is to feed their roots. So we've sprinkled fertilizer through here, this whole area, called sheep droppings. And the boys are still not used to me, but they have a new area as of Friday. They seem pretty content. So I'm now at the far corner where the girl sheep are. And they've already been through here, you can see. But there's an apple tree here in this corner with really nice big apples. And I don't see any on the ground, so the deer have obviously nailed them. But I want to try this apple. I can't quite reach it. Here we go, I'm gonna jump. Let's see what it tastes like. Wow. Might be a Cortland. Got this nice. Well, the skin's a little. And there's kind of brown stuff in there. That's a good apple. One of the reasons I like this land is that there are apple trees all around. But if anybody thinks that these are wild apple trees, they're actually wrong. Because apple trees, first of all, are such a delicacy for deer that they just don't survive. So chances are these trees were planted by somebody of a certain variety, and you know, the place to plant apple trees is along the edge of a field. Apple trees are edge plants. So here's an idea. Where are the edges in your life? There's usually a lot of opportunity at the edge. Apples are smaller trees, So they benefit by being at the edge of a forest, so they get the light. I have company. Hi, Grouse. Who wants an apple? I'll share it with you. There's Friendly Freckles. Friendly. Hey. All right, fine. I'll eat more. That is a good apple. Who wants an apple? You're friendly. You're Friendly Freckles. I'll hold it for you. No? Okay. I'll keep eating it then. You be careful, you're close to the fence. It's a very firm apple. Careful. I shouldn't have put it so close to the fence. To call you an Appaloosa. Oh yeah, you got some there, girl. And there's Legs. Hey, Legs. Look at you. You just filled out so nicely. You're still pretty leggy, but you look much better. Cowabunga. All right. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna say for the Sunday message. I don't know what to say yet. Hey, Mark Shepard, welcome to Healing Pastures. This is a huge adventure, and it's hard for me to articulate it sometimes very quickly because it's a farm, but it's also church to me. And it's also, I have all this music that I've been writing since 1976 that demands me to do something with it, to share it, to get it out into the world in some shape or form. And driven by, I guess, an innate curiosity, I found a guy by the name of Greg Judy, and in my heart, in my mind, I affectionately call him the Prophet Greg, because in every spiritual movement, there are prophets, people who say, hey, you know, we've been thinking about God this way, like a mean old man, a mean old king on a throne that we have to be afraid of, Yahweh, right? Old Testament, scary, punishing God. And then a guy like Jesus comes along and says, no, God's love, right? So in farming is a religion, people. There's a lot of religious aspects to farming because a lot of what we do as farmers is belief-based. Belief that we know what we're doing, or belief that we don't know what we're doing, or belief that we have to listen to the county agricultural agent who, you know, suggests what pesticides to put on our land. I think in farming we need a prophet, and for me there are two. There's the prophet Joel Salatin, and I'll talk about him another day, but there's Greg Judy, and I want to give Greg Judy a shout out. This man and his books, No Risk Ranching, essentially Greg was trying to farm, but he was doing it the way everybody else does it, and he was losing his shirt. And he figured out that, oh, if he leased land rather than bought land, then he could immediately get into a custom grazing situation. And so this book opened my eyes, because all my life I've been struggling to find a way to make enough money so I could buy land so I could do a farm, right? And at the same time, make enough money so that I could pay somebody to help me record my music. And so the two things kind of happened at once, in that I realized with the help of a long-time friend of mine, Gene Moore, he was like, Mark, you can record your own music. If you can do video, you can do audio. So about 4 years ago, I really began to work on recording my music in my own home. And at the same time, I've been driven by this urge, this compulsion, this compelled feeling to farm. And so, no risk ranching, grazing on leased land, comeback farms, which is all about rejuvenating soils, pastures, and profits with livestock grazing management. These books are simple, they're well written, they literally let you know what it is you need to do. This other one by Jim Garish, Kick the Hay Habit. And for me, the biggest shift is that, you'll still have to feed some hay in the winter, but if you manage your land properly, there will be forage, there will be stockpile, what they call winter stockpile, even under the snow. And the sheep will dig for it, and they will prefer that over the hay. Go ahead, feed the hay as backup, right? But the whole idea, like around here, that's blasphemy. That's heretical, right? Because everybody's like, spends all summer putting as much hay up as possible. And this beautiful pasture land that could actually be fertilized by the animals as they were rotated across it would actually feed them better. I mean, if you give an animal a choice between hay or fresh forage, they're going to pick the fresh forage every time. But there's a kind of a grass that definitely grows all through the winter. It's called fescue, and it has some problems. There's an endophyte that infects it, but if you're not eating it down to the nubs, you're going to be a lot safer, right? If you let it grow longer, right? And if you don't leave the animals in a continuous grazing operation, they will eat in a different way. They won't just eat the stuff they like, right? So for me, this is a religious revolution. And the thing is, Greg Judy is obviously a deeply spiritual man. I took his grazing school and I met him in person. He actually knew who I was because I was one of his early YouTube subscribers, and I would leave comments. And little aside here, if you're watching this and you haven't left a comment yet, please leave a comment. But I want to open up some kind of communication with other people who are jazzed about the idea that a small farmer can actually support him or herself by properly managing animals, and that it is something that can be scaled. You might start it at the hobby farm level, and this is not a freaking hobby farm, just so you know. That's one of my pet peeves. Don't call it a hobby farm. But once you get an idea of what you can do, then you can scale it up. So for me, and again, it is church to me. I just spent an hour walking the land this morning on a Sunday morning. It's Sunday the 25th of September 2022. And just seeing how far I've come in 2.5 months, just seeing how the animals are growing, how the animals are really healthy, how there's a certain balance that happens when I'm outside, when I'm walking on the land, when I'm connecting with these other beings, these animals that they're really an alien species, and we're collaborating. You know, I am protecting them and feeding them and making sure that their genetic code gets passed out into the future, and their exchange for me is that I can have some of them, right? I can have some of their children. To me, this is a deeply spiritual, deeply religious thing. maybe not so religious, but it's definitely spiritual. It's a deeply spiritual, but maybe not so religious thing, in that I am willing to challenge the way things have been done and to take a beginner's mind. But the thing is, you have to find the right mentors. And for me, Greg Judy is the right mentor. So I highly suggest, if you're interested in this, that you check out Greg Judy's books, No Risk Ranching, Custom Grazing on Leased Land, Comeback Farms, Rejuvenating Soils, Pastures, and Profits with Livestock Grazing Management. I think he has another book, which I didn't grab when I came down the hill, which is How to Think Like a Grazier, Thinking Like a Grazier. And then, of course, Jim Garish's Kick the Hay Habit. All right. So my Sunday message today is that whatever you are being called to do by Spirit, there is somebody who's done it first. There is someone who's done a piece of it first. There's somebody who might be doing it as well, and you need to find them. You need to seek them. You need to read what they've written, and then you need to put it into practice. And I would say that in a spiritual context. I would say it as a musician. If you have musical talent and you have a yearning to share your music with the world, then you have to take action. You have to do everything you can to preserve it, to protect it, to share it. And if you're a farm person, if you're a gardener, if you are a hobby farmer, if you are a conventional farmer who is struggling with all the equipment, all the debt, all the chemicals, all the pesticides, all the stuff that big agriculture has insisted is the way to go, you might want to check out the prophet Greg Judy. And that's my message today. And it's as good as I can do. And I got to get it done. And I'm working on so many things, and I got to get back to work. And I love you people. And I send out prayers out into the world. And the food that I'm growing is one of the prayers that I send out into the world. And if you're in the Albany, New York area, once a month, I go down there and I bring meat. I bring a cooler full of meat, frozen. And if you're interested, please visit me at healingpastures.org and use the handy contact form there. And that's it for today. Just sending out prayers. Sending out prayers. Winter's coming, folks. We're in fall. Things are shifting. Things are changing. Embrace change. This is going to happen anyway. So you might as well enjoy it. Peace, love, Groovyness. Amen. Hey, I don't know what song I'm about to play you, but I'm about to play you a song. So stick around for the song, and then I'll talk to you a little bit afterwards. And I have like 1 minute of sheep just being adorable. So that's where we are. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, blah, blah, blah. Here's the song. Boom.
Leaves on the trees will be turning to colors, colors that fall from the trees to the ground. We will be picking them up before winter comes. We will have leaves for our growing collection. Ah, here comes the fall. Ah, here comes the fall. Here comes the fall. clouds make the rain and some very big shadows. Sometimes they even make monsters that float through the sky. Soon it will snow from the insides of clouds, and the wind will come whistling quite softly and sometimes quite loud. Ah, here comes the fall. 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 Pumpkins are gorgeous and the gourds are outrageous. Stephanie's donuts will haunt you until you surrender. Apples and cheddar cheese, soon there will be a freeze. Like it or not, it's gonna be a summer ender. Ah, here comes the fall. 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 Leaves will be covering the ground just like highways. Highways of rhythm that lead to the lands of enchantment. We'll run and we'll jump and we'll play in the leaves while the mist on the river rolls up the valley like cotton. Ah, here comes the fall. 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 Followed by winter, followed by spring. Ah, here comes the fall. Ah, here comes the fall. Ah, here comes the fall. Ah, here comes the fall.
Proof that pigs are destructive. I mean, look. It just grabbed a huge chunk of that piece of wood. This is why we can't have nice things.